And he does exemplify all the characteristics that Donette just said. And Shakir has always had a positive attitude. What he didn't tell you was that at age 3.5, he had a stroke. And that's why he had to end up having transfusion therapy. And he did, me and my husband, did our best during the young years. We would take him to the hospital, make sure that he got everything that he needed. But he did very well when he became of age. He had been paying attention, and he learned at an early age how to take care of himself and what he needed to do. And he did. He was always very compliant. He never gave us a hard time, and he was always smiling. Many times we didn't know if he was in pain because of the way he presented himself. So I just wanted to add that.
Right, and one of the reasons why I didn't speak about the stroke is because that was more of a very tough experience for my parents and my family rather than for me, because of it having been at such an early age in my life, I don't really remember that, which, that's a blessing in itself. Because if I was at 19 and I had a stroke, that would have been very hard, and I would definitely remember that now. So.
One of the positive things that I tell folks living with sickle cell is that we always stay young. You try to look at the positive, right? We age very gracefully.
Yeah, people always comment on how good my skin looks.
I still think I could sneak you into the clinic. Dr. Sells made me give you to adult land.
I have a question. I know your mom sounds like a very supportive person in your life, and nurses and doctors. Who inspired you, as far as college and advancing? Because some of us patients don't even think of going to school and pursuing, labor, education, trade schools, or anything. In your life, do you think was pushing you towards that direction, or was it just yourself that felt this need?
I'd say, because my mom went to college, so, when I was little, I used to look at going to college as being on your own, and, having sickle cell, you're constantly kind of being monitored. So it's kind of like, I want to do my own thing. I just want to get out there and experience life at my own pace, by myself, and just show that I can do this on my own. Like, although I appreciate all the love from my parents and my brother and everything, I think it's just good to have that, experience life on your own as an individual. So that's one of the reasons why I used to look forward to being able to go to college. Yes.
I just want to commend you on just everything that you just said and let you know you're a very courageous person. You said you had a stroke at the age of, what was it, 3.5? That's the same age as my granddaughter had a stroke.
It was actually 2 days before she turned 3.
Wow.
So for her to hear, because she just heard you when you said it, she said, wow.
We had the same like me.
Same like me. So it's like encouragement for her, to see that it's not such a bad thing,
Right.
It's a good thing.
And then next thing you know, you'll be as brilliant as me.
If you get up and go to school.
Exactly. You don't have a school focus like you did. As much as I push her, it's like, I don't know. Yeah. I'm trying to instill it in her at an age that she needs to.
Did anybody give you a hard time at school because you weren't there? Did anybody notice that you, in high school, that you were out once a month, or, was that a problem? Because you were getting transfused, were you picked on? Were they like, where were you? Or was that not a problem at all?
Not at all. Like, people just love me just for who I am. So if they did, I would just have to put them in check. And this is something that I go through. You know, imagine if you had it,
Right.
and then they won't say anything else. They won't have anything to say. So.
I think the kids back, well, 3 years ago, it's not like the kids today.
Yes.
My question is, can you share how, some of the things that you did to get you over the hump during your school age times that these children can benefit and things that they can do when they're ill?
Like during a crisis or something?
Yes.
I said, like, during that 2008 crisis, I did pray a lot at that time because I was laid up for a long period of time, just sitting there in the room, TV off. The medication is supposed to help you sleep, but I felt like it prevented me from sleeping. So I'll just be staring at the ceiling a lot of times, and then I'll just often pray about it. And then gradually I got better over time. And, you know, like I said, having the family there helps. Talking to them and just letting your feelings out with them. I say that would help a lot. Just having faith helps.
In school, did you find that your nurses, your teachers understood your problem, were helpful to you, or was it hard to find people that understood your disease and said that you were faking it, or if you had pain, if you bumped your knee or something and you were complaining of pain, they would just ignore it? And
In high school?
in any grade school or any problems earlier?
I don't think I ever really had pain in high school or anything like that. So most of the time, a lot of people didn't really know.
I have to say that we had a sickle cell SD patient who was going to Albany High School, and he is completely white. And this nurse sending letters saying that he had sickle cell disease in that population, I got laughed out of the door. And I actually had to go in and do education for the school because they were not accepting his notes that he was in the hospital, they were not accepting his notes that he was home because he was sick. It was awful. I can't even tell you how awful it was, but it was awful. And the other problem that we experienced, only one kid, but was going to a big high school, had a port, and kids were teasing him because they thought he had HIV. But those are the only two problems that I've really had with schools. Most of the time the nurses and the administrators are really helpful. I have had to go do a lot of teaching, especially to the outlying schools where maybe it's their first sickle cell patient ever. And then I go in and I educate everybody.
I did one of the first, I'm an IT guy, so one of the first websites I ever had to do in college, we had to do a project. For our last project is make a website about a topic. So I made my website about sickle cell. And that's how I learned about how, you know, other ethnicities can get sickle cell. Like even, you know, white people, Asian, etc. But, you know, the percentage is usually a lot smaller, but it can happen. And, you know, that's how
We
I
actually
learned
have
about
a-
that.
Sorry.
We
So
have
there was a
we have
poster.
A poster in there, sickle cell around the world, and it shows people from Nigeria, Greece, Turkey, in our support group in the cities. We have Greek Americans, we've had Italian Americans that came out to the world, and they mainly have sickle beta found. But in speaking to this young Greek American, what she felt was that she was isolated, Because the same thing as the nurse said, she goes into crisis in the hospital, it's like a reverse discrimination, right? They don't believe her that she's in pain because, oh, you white and you have, so the ignorance is there. So what we're encouraging her to do is to go to her community, the Greek American community, and talk about it. You have to become an advocate. Because there are other people in that community that's suffering just like you, that feels isolated. But if it becomes inclusive, then everybody can, because it doesn't matter. I'm from Jamaica, but I can go and talk to them, and they're going to look at me and say, oh, you're black. So that's why you have it. But if you as a Greek American go and talk about it, then it will be a difference.
Yeah, that's going to be a challenge for her to...
It will be, but we have to have a different conversation.
Right.
Conversation has to change.
And she's going to have to share that with society, and that will get the word out that it can happen to others. And,
We have a brochure in there that we just did, and it's with a family with 3 kids with sickle cell. And they're all blonde and blue-eyed. And all 3 of her kids have sickle cell. See? When her first child was diagnosed, she told her, oh, you have the wrong blood test. My husband is blonde. But she didn't know at the time.
Right.
So it's something where we really have to really open up the conversation.
Right. And I just want to say that June 19th is actually World Sickle Cell Day. So what I've been doing is online, I try to reach out and use social media, a lot like Twitter and Facebook. So I started on Twitter, the way you're supposed to create a topic is called a trending topic. So you put the pound sign in front of any word that you want to be a topic. So I tried to start this